Warning: this case contains graphic details of child abuse. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. In the heart of Indianapolis, 1965, a quiet home on East New York Street became the setting for one of the most horrific crimes ever committed against a child. Her name was Sylvia Likens. She was 16 years old. And over the course of 3 unspeakable months, she was starved, beaten, burned, humiliated, and tortured to death, not by a serial killer or a stranger, but by the very people who were supposed to care for her. This is the disturbing case of Sylvia Likens, and how a group of ordinary people became monsters. Sylvia Marie Likens was born January 3, 1949, in Lebanon, Indiana, to carnival workers Lester and Betty Likens. She was the third of 5 children. Her parents' marriage was rocky and unstable, often forcing them to travel to make ends meet. In the summer of 1965, Sylvia and her younger sister Jenny, who was 15 and walked with a brace due to polio, were left in the care of a woman named Gertrude Banashevsky. She was a single mother of 7 children, struggling with poverty, addiction, and mental illness. The Likens parents paid Gertrude $20 a week to watch the girls while they toured with the carnival. They had no idea they were leaving them in the hands of someone deeply unstable. At first, things seemed fine. But when the payment from Sylvia's parents came late, Gertrude snapped. She began targeting Sylvia, not Jenny, with cruel punishments. These began with spankings, escalated to verbal abuse, and soon turned into beatings and starvation. Gertrude accused Sylvia of stealing, lying, and acting promiscuous. There's no evidence any of it was true. But Gertrude's own daughters, particularly Paula Banashevsky, followed her lead. Then, disturbingly, neighborhood kids were invited over to join the abuse. This was not just neglect. It became a systematic torture chamber, right in the middle of suburbia. Over the weeks, Sylvia was tied up, denied food, and beaten daily. Paula broke her wrist while punching Sylvia, and continued to beat her with a cast. Sylvia was burned with cigarettes. A neighborhood boy was encouraged to practice judo on her. They even forced her to eat feces and vomit. The worst came in October. Gertrude forced Sylvia to strip, and carved the words "I'm a prostitute and proud of it" into her stomach using a heated needle. Sylvia begged for water and was refused. On October 26, 1965, after weeks of abuse, Sylvia attempted to escape, but collapsed. She died later that day from a brain hemorrhage, shock, and malnutrition. She was 16 years old, weighing just 84 pounds. Jenny, Sylvia's sister, who had been too afraid to speak up, finally whispered to police, "You get me out of here and I'll tell you everything." What followed shocked the nation. Gertrude Banashevsky, her daughter Paula, and 3 neighborhood boys were arrested. The trial revealed that not only had they abused Sylvia, they had turned her into a community spectacle. Dozens of people knew something was wrong. No one helped. Gertrude was sentenced to life in prison. Paula was sentenced to 7 years. The boys received lighter sentences, some only a few months. Gertrude was paroled in 1985 after serving 20 years. She changed her name to Nadine Van Fossen and lived quietly until her death in 1990. Paula disappeared, then re-emerged working in a school system under an alias. Sylvia's story was nearly forgotten, until decades later, journalists and filmmakers revived public interest. A memorial was placed in her honor in 2001. Jenny went on to live a quiet life but never fully recovered from the trauma. She said, "I'll never forget what they did to my sister." The case of Sylvia Likens remains a chilling reminder of what happens when neglect, cruelty, and bystander apathy collide. Her death wasn't just the result of one sadistic woman, it was the silence of a community that looked the other way. A reminder that it really takes a village. Sylvia deserved love. She deserved protection. Instead, her final days were filled with horror that no child should ever experience. If you are a parent or guardian, please hold your child or children tight. May we never forget her name. Sylvia Marie Likens, 1949 to 1965.